Hello, boys and girls. My name is Miss McClaw, and I am going to read to you today from a wonderful book called Furia. It's about a girl from Argentina who wants to play soccer, and that's why I have my Argentine soccer jersey and my Argentine necklace. So I will read the first chapter, and here we go. Lies have short legs. I learned this proverb before I could speak. I never knew exactly where it came from. Maybe the saying followed my family across the Atlantic, all the way to Rosario, the second largest city in Argentina at the end of the world. My Russian great-grandmother, Isabel, embroidered it on a pillow after her first love broke her heart and married her sister. My Palestinian grandfather, Ahmed, whispered it to me every time my mom found his hidden stash of wine bottles. My Andalusian grandmother, Elena, repeated it like a mantra until her memories and regrets called her to the next life. Maybe it came from Matilde, the woman who chased freedom to Las Pampas, all the way from Brazil. But of her, this black woman whose blood roared in my veins, we hardly ever spoke. Her last name got lost, but my grandma's grandma still showed up so many generations later, in the way my brown hair curled, the shape of my nose, and my stubbornness. Ay, Dios mío, my stubbornness. Like her, if family folklore was to be trusted, I had learned to shut up or do as I was told. But perhaps the words sprouted from this man that the conquistadores thought was encrusted with silver, the only inheritance I'd ever received from the indigenous branch of my family tree. In any case, when my mom said them to me as I was getting ready to leave the house that afternoon, I brushed her off. I'm not lying, I insisted, fighting with the tangled laces of my sneakers. Real Nikes that Pablo, my brother, had given me for Christmas after he got his first footballer paycheck. I told you, I'll be at Roxana's. My mom put down her sewing, a sequin skirt for a quinceañera, and stared at me. Be back by 7. The whole family will be over to celebrate the season opener. The whole family. As if, for all that talk of family unity, my parents weren't on speaking terms with any of their siblings or cousins. But my dad's friends and Pablo's girlfriend would be here, eating and gossiping and laughing until who knew when. You know Pablo, Ma. I'm sure he has plans with the team. He specifically asked me to make pizza, she said with a smirk. Now you be on time and don't do anything stupid. Stupid like what? My words came out too harsh, but I had stellar grades. I didn't do drugs. I didn't sleep around. Hell, I was 17 and not pregnant, unlike every other woman in my family. You would have thought she'd give me some credit, be on my side, but no. Nothing I did was enough. I was not enough. It's not like I can go to El Gigante. I don't have money for a ticket. She flung the fabric aside. Mira, Camila, how many times have I told you that a football stadium's no place for a decent senorita? That girl who turned up in a ditch, if she hadn't been hanging out on the wrong side of the crowd, she'd still be alive. There's a little bit of truth in what she said, but just a little. That girl, Jimena Marquez, had gone missing after a game last year, but she had been killed by her boyfriend, El Paco. He and Pope Francisco shared a name, but El Paco was no saint. Everyone knew that, just as everyone knew he used every woman in his life as a punching bag, starting with his mother. If I pointed this out, though, my mom would start ranting about the Ni Una Menos movement and how it was all feminist propaganda, and I'd miss my bus. My championship game, the one my mom couldn't know about, was at 4, the same time as Central's league opener. At least they were at opposite ends of the city. Vieja, I said instantly, regretting calling her old. She wasn't even 40 yet. We live in the 21st century in a free-ish country. If I wanted to go to the stadium, I could. You could too, Mommy. Pablo would want to see you there. You know that, right? Her face hardened. The last time she'd been to the stadium, Central had lost, and my dad had joked that she'd been la yeta, bad luck. My mom was a never forgive, never forget kind of person and would remember his words until her last breath. But what if he was right? What if she had been the reason the Pablo's team had lost? Throwing my last card, I let just enough of the truth spill out. I was going to Roxana's after my game to quench her fears. At Roxana's, I can hear what happens in the stadium, Mama. Just give me this, please. What am I supposed to do here all day? She tugged at a stubborn thread. It's Mama, Camila. Don't talk like a country girl. If my sister, Graciela, heard you speak like this, her eyes swept over me, up and down. And why are you wearing those baggy pants, Ethan? If you'd let me make you a few dresses. I almost laughed. If she was picking on how I talked and how I dressed, I'd won this battle. But then she said, you're hiding something, and it worries me. My heart softened. I had been hiding that something for an entire year, since Coach Alicia had discovered Roxana and me playing in a night league and recruited us to her team. Pobre Mama. I wished I could share my secret with her. But in spite of what my parents believed, I had learned my lessons. When I was 12, my dad found me playing football in the neighborhood potrero with a bunch of boys. I'd been having the time of my life until he started bellowing at me in front of the whole barrio that he wasn't raising a marimacho, that football was for men. I took it all in silence, ready to plant my mom's feet, but she sided with him. I hadn't talked to her about football since. Salma, I pecked her cheek and gasped for the door and freedom. I'll tell Mrs. Fong you said hi. Answer your phone when I call you. My cheap phone was inside my backpack, safely out of credit, but she didn't know that. Ciao, te quiero. I threw her a kiss and ran out before she could stop me. I paused for half a second by the closed metal door of our apartment, but she didn't say te quiero back. The neighbor's music, mi gente, set a reggaeton rhythm for my pounding feet. I took every shortcut between the cinder block buildings and shacks in 7 de Septiembre, our barrio. By the time I made it to the bus stop, I couldn't hear the music anymore, but the pom-pom beat still resonated inside me. The 142 bus turned the corner just after I checked my watch, 2:40. You're on time. I gave the driver a grateful smile as I scanned my student card on the reader, and when it beeped, I thanked La Virgencita. I couldn't really afford to spend money on the fare, but the game field in Parque Irigoyen was too far away to walk. Well, you're lucky, the driver said. This is the emergency services bus for Centro's opener. Most scoundrels are already at El Gigante, but I'm supporting from here. He smiled, showing me the blue and yellow jersey peeking out from under his warm blue button-up. You heading there? I didn't want to give him an excuse to get ready, so I shrugged and found a seat. The shiny black leather was cracked with yellowish stuff and peeking out, but it was far enough from both the middle-aged couple making out in the back and the man leering at me over there. The bus gathered speed and left El Barrio. The drone of the engine and the warmth of the heater lulled me as I gazed out the window at the still naked August trees and the flocks of birds who hadn't made the flight north for warmer weather. After a brief stop on Circunvalación, I found something touch my leg. A card with a picture of La Difunta Correa, the patron saint of impossible things. The paper was yellowing and a corner was bent. I looked up to see the flash of a young boy's crooked smile as he walked the length of the bus, giving out estampitas, saint cards, hoping for small donations. In spite of attending a Catholic school since third grade, I'd never been particularly religious. But I recognized La Difunta, the image of a dead mother still breastfeeding her baby in a beam of divine sunshine had always mesmerized me. Something during the chaotic post-colonial years in the mid-1800s, the army had taken La Difunta's husband to fatten up its ranks. Heartbroken, she carried her infant son and followed her husband through the sierras and the desert until she died of thirst. When two drovers found her body, her child was still alive, suckling from her breast. Ever since, miracles have been attributed to her. She isn't officially a saint, but shrines to La Difunta dot Argentina's roads, encircled by bottles of water, the offering and payment for her favors. My conscience reminded me of all my lies, of the miracle my team would need to win the championship today. The sadness in the boy's hunched shoulders pricked my heart. I rummaged in my pocket for some money. There wasn't much you could get with 50 pesos, but it was all I had. Gracias, he said. May la Vicenta bless you. I held up the estampita and asked, will this really work? He shrugged, but when he smiled, a dimple popped his cheek. What can you lose, eh? He couldn't have been more than 10, but he was already old. No one else took an estampita or gave him money, and he sent me another smile before he stepped off the bus. The engine's roar couldn't drown out the frantic muttering in my head. Today might be the last day I played with my team. No leg could be fast enough to give us a victory. We needed a miracle. I glanced down at the estampita and sent La Vicente a silent prayer for a future in which I could play football and be free. What else could I lose? And that was the first chapter of La Furia, and thank you for listening. Adios.